Welcome back to Askewed Reviews, and today we are doing another movie request, and it is for the 2001 film Monkeybone. Here is your trivia question for today. Who are all of the historical figures locked up with Stu? The answer will be at the end of this video. So our film starts off with us meeting Stu Miley, who happens to be a cartoonist and is now about to be very well known and very famous for creating the cartoon series Monkeybone. But you see, Stu doesn't care about the fame or the fortune. He only cares about his girlfriend Julie, who helped him get out of a deep depression. Now, on the other hand, Stu's agent Herb only cares about the money, the success, and the licensing deals. Herb ends up jam packing Stu's car with a bunch of Monkeybone toys and memorabilia. Unfortunately, it's so jam packed that he ends up in a car accident. Julie ends up being fine, but Stu ends up in a coma. Stu's spirit ends up traveling to a place in the land of dreams called Downtown. While exploring downtown, Stu ends up running into all sorts of different figments of imagination, including one he created, Monkeybone. Now, back in the real world, Stu's sister Kimmy is planning on taking him off of life support, as they made a pact a while ago as their father had been through something similar. Stu ends up becoming aware of this as the people of downtown are able to watch people's dreams. He just wants to get back home to Julie as he had plans on marrying her. So Stu ends up getting a meeting with Hypnos, the ruler of the land of dreaming, in hopes of finding a way back home. So Hypnos tells him that he must sneak into the land of the dead, where he does so dressed up as a reaper, and there he must steal an exit pass from Death herself. He does so, but when he comes back, the denizens of downtown end up capturing him, and then they give the exit pass over to Monkeybone. Monkeybone returns to Earth and is able to take over Stu's body. The reason he does this is because Julie has recently created an actual nightmare fuel, and Hypnos wants to be able to mass produce that and have everyone create more nightmares for the land of dreaming. So will Stu be able to break free, return to his body, and get revenge on Monkeybone? This movie is loosely based on the graphic novel Darktown. The movie is directed by Henry Selick, who also directed The Nightmare Before Christmas, and you can see some similar tones and styles. This movie is only one of two live action animated hybrid movies made by 20th Century Studios that's not Alvin and the Chipmunks or Garfield. The other one is The Call of the Wild. When the movie was originally pitched, it was actually going to be darker and closer to the graphic novel. In fact, Nicolas Cage was considered for Stu, and Christopher Walken was considered for Death. Ben Stiller was originally set to be the voice of Monkeybone, but due to complications with Mystery Men, he wasn't able to do so. This movie is actually one of the reasons why Cartoon Network created Adult Swim. You see, Cartoon Network actually received criticism from parents for supporting this movie and showing its marketing during their regular run times, so they of course needed a space where they could showcase stuff for their adult fans. This movie also has quite the stacked cast. Not only do you have actors like Brendan Fraser and Bridget Fonda, but you've also got Chris Kattan, Dave Foley, Whoopi Goldberg, John Turturro as the voice of Monkeybone, Giancarlo Esposito, Rose McGowan, Thomas Hayden Church, Megan Mullally, Bob Odenkirk, Roger L. Jackson as Arnold the Super Reaper, and even Doug Jones as the Yeti. Director Henry Selick even makes a brief appearance technically at the beginning of the film, as it's actually his hands that are doing the opening sequence. This film is actually the third time that Brendan Fraser and Dave Foley would work together, as they both appeared in the films Kids in the Hall Brain Candy and Blast from the Past. Dave Foley also had no need of a body double, as he was more than willing to do his own nude scene. Chris Kattan in the film plays a gymnast that broke his neck, and in real life, Kattan actually broke his neck during an SNL skit. Originally, Stephen King was set to cameo as himself in the film, but unfortunately, he ended up being unavailable, so they brought in lookalike John Bruno to do the scene. So when it comes to the film Monkeybone, it's definitely fun, entertaining, and very original. Although I do have to say, a lot of the other stuff that Brendan Fraser was working on during this time was much better. So I'm going to give this film a 3 out of 5. Now, as for the trivia question from the beginning of this episode, who are all of the historical figures locked up with Stu? So not all of them are pictured here, but all of the prisoners in the cell are Stephen King, Jack the Ripper, Lizzie Borden, Attila the Hun, Rasputin, and Typhoid Mary. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews, and if there's a movie you'd like to see get a review, just mention it in the comments.